Hey guys, this is Ben with Should Have Turned Left again. This is going to be Frank and I talking about Mark III. If you wanted to watch the battle report, go back, watch number 13. This is the one that goes along with it. Again, I apologize for a bit of a lower audio recording than normal, but that should be fixed in later issues. Anyways, enjoy.
Alright, so we'll throw the guy that's running 3++ some credit here. He has this website, I think it's a 40K blog normally or something. If you go down to this post that he has right below on the main page there.
War Machine Hordes, currently under... what?
Yeah, so right here,
wow.
He's got a new edition summary. So what he does is, so read more on that one.
Yeah.
Every time there's an update, he will put the new stuff in pink. So if you're staying up to date with it and you know it's the end of a normal weekday and you want to check out what's there, you can just kind of go through and look at the pink stuff. And it's pretty much all the new stuff. He even gets the stuff that's like from the forums, from the PPS guys. So it kind of puts everything in one spot. I don't know how on top of the updates he is exactly, but usually he has everything. And I think here he's missing a few things, but for the most part he has everything.
Oh my god.
So it's all in one place, and it's updated more frequently than Fildar's forum post. And eventually he's going to run out of posts. He only has like 2 left, I think, that he can put stuff in, and you have like a 1,000 character limit and all that. But he even has the copies of the images of the cards here, so it's all in one spot. And if
so he's got Scorn but not Legion stuff, so he doesn't have today's stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't have today's stuff. He only has a few things there from the recent Legion updates. We can find the other stuff that was mentioned.
Yeah, we can. Just do the typical search the PPS names and let's see. The problem is it takes a little bit of setup for the way I do it because you actually got to.
And you have a 30-second timeout on your
30-second timeout bullcrap.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
But if you leave the 3++ guy a comment about something that he's missing or something like that, he updates that as well. I've seen so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bookmark that page and go there.
He seems like he's on top of it. The other place that I would recommend for people if they want to like stay on top of this sort of stuff is the War Machine Hordes Reddit. I don't know how many people actually use the War Machine Hordes Reddit, but I use Reddit for a number of other things, so I check in on the page every now and then. I know Jay Larson is actively looking at and many times commenting on the Reddit. I think Menoth John also is fairly active on the Reddit. At least he posts the stuff that he does there. Maybe a few other podcasts and people use it as well. Those are just the 2 that I've noticed that have had name recognition for me.
Yeah.
So it's a decent resource as well. Like when the Privateer Press webpage dies on you.
Like it did earlier this week?
Yeah. A lot of times what people do on the Reddit is like, I've been fairly lucky because usually when I go and eat my lunch and I'll start sending you texts, I'm sitting in my car eating my lunch, and almost every day the insider comes up while I'm eating my lunch. I eat kind of a late lunch, like 3 o'clock here or something. Yeah. 2 or 3, somewhere in there.
Oh, today I was in my lunch, and when you texted me what it was, I was like, oh, well, shit, that updated in the past 15 minutes.
Yeah, and
because I got the access denied.
Yeah, it's just really random. I happen to hit it around the right time, luckily somehow, and I always get in fairly early. So the people that get in early that are nice about it, they'll kind of copy it and then they'll post it all into the Reddit page. That way you can see the text there. And that's also...
You don't have to deal with forum lag.
You don't have to deal with the forum lag and their website crapping out on you. And for some people that's particularly useful if you're on like a work network and they block certain pages, but they don't block Reddit because they don't know what Reddit is or something. So they don't block Reddit. Oh, and you can go to Reddit. So for people that work on firewalled internet connections at work or something, Reddit can be very useful for that as well. So 3++ and Reddit, I'll recommend both of those for War Machine updates.
Alright, so now we're actually browsing the 3++ website.
So I guess since you and I last talked on here, we've had a few things happen with a Legion Insider and a Scorn Insider.
Yep. I'm
So-
still hesitantly waiting for Circle.
And Weapon Crews.
Oh,
Yeah, Weapon Crews.
yeah, light artillery. You know, that's actually kind of cool.
You want to start with them since they're they're kind of the least impactful, I think.
I don't know. They're to me they seem to be good fillers, but then again, I've always kind of wanted them to be good, which is why I own 2 Ret and 2 Pharaoh.
Yeah, I mean the upside is they
can move and shoot.
move and
Oh
shoot.
my god, they can move and shoot.
And in general, they increase the damage output on all of them, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some of them have straight brutal damage, which is nice. The Trencher Chain Gun has an additional dive damage versus warrior models.
Yeah.
And some of them just got a straight power buff.
Yep.
And then some
heavy
of
rifle
them...
team.
Yes.
Which, okay, Ret's actually is pretty scary with the changes that has come around for it.
With the armor pierce change as well, right?
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
It's just like you always just have armor instead of have and then add your buffs on afterward.
Well, no, it's... I suspect it's still going to be base armor and do all that, but it's more... armor piercing is half armor even on small base models.
Oh, okay. Okay. Always on. So it's always half armor.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
always half armor.
That makes target selection quite a bit better instead of just crappy +2 POW.
Yeah.
Versus small base.
Yeah. The POW of the gun has been increased as well to
By
POW
2.
8.
Yeah, by 2, which is
a
fairly... So if you think of an average heavy, we'll take a heavy for example, you're looking at somewhere between 18 and 20.
Yeah.
So you're looking at dice -1, dice -2, or straight, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
And that's okay, especially when you consider some of the other ones that are fairly decent, like the Pharaoh is a POW 16 with brutal damage.
Yeah.
So you're dice -3 or 4, roughly. So you're looking at 6 or 7 damage, pretty much. So you're looking at roughly the same output.
Yeah.
One has more dice, which can spike higher or lower. So
exactly.
That's the risky run with that one.
However, even scarier with the heavy rifle team is they're the only ones keeping the rule rangefinder, which now is a boosted attack roll as opposed to +2 to hit.
Yeah, so they can aim and get a rangefinder.
Yeah, so they're aim, boosted hit, armor pierce.
Yeah, so that makes them far more effective than it once was.
And can still advance 4 inches provided the grunt's still around.
Yep.
So that is a weird rule, but whatever, makes sense.
The Cato 1 gets flat knockdown on it, which...
That is terrifying.
If it's still Winter Guard, and if Kovnik Joe still gives boosted attack rolls, then that thing is going to be a setup machine.
I know. It's like that was one of the ones taken already because it had the range to be good.
No. There are 2 in... One of them is the mortar.
Oh, that's right, the mortar.
This is the other one that no one played, the field gun.
Oh, God.
So this is the field gun that no one played.
Oh, crap.
So...
Miranda's happy.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be happy. The mortar looked like it was still doing... okay, I forget the changes for that exactly. We can probably find them.
Probably.
But overall, my gripe with them is going to be that they are fairly inaccurate. Like we just talked about the Ret one, which is kind of an exception to the case. The Pharaoh one gets AD, which is great, but it's Ret 4. So it has more ability to aim,
3.
and you do get the reposition rule on them as well, which is good. Aiming, it can be fairly reliable. To me, it seems like the higher damage threat that they have, the lower accuracy they're going to be. They did talk about the potential for more artillerists and things like that outside of just mercs.
Yeah,
so
that anybody that doesn't have support for their artillery is going to gain support for their artillery.
So
in Rhett's case, that is the House Guard Thane still helps him out. Which, oh god, armor piercing, ignoring stealth. Have fun with that.
yay!
So Rhett might have a good piece.
Yeah. So
Basically.
I think we'll see a few good ones. We'll see some bad ones.
Yeah. Oh.
I think
bound
it's
to
really
be,
going to come down to the amount of reliable damage that you can expect from it, because we're seeing that they're 5 and 6 points.
Yep.
So when you're talking, you have 75 points that you're working with roughly, because you don't count your battle group points. So you have 75 points you're working with. Maybe 2 of them is good enough that you can expect reliable damage output out of it. Like,
Yeah.
that could be fine actually. We'll have to look at we'll have to be building a list in Mark II to really determine how much of an effect 5 and 6 points has on the table to really know.
Yeah. It feels like one, either you're going to bring them in pairs, or they're going to be, okay, I have so many points left in my list, what seems good, I'll try these guys.
I'm so big on like just things being symmetric and everything that I like running doubles. There are some things that in my mind it is acceptable to have one of, and then there are other things that in my mind it's like, why aren't there pairs of these things? Because you want to have an equal threat on both sides of the field, or you want to have the redundancy in case one gets blown up or whatever, you know.
Yeah, now that your command detachments, which is I think that's what he's calling it, replacing unit detachments. Now that those are going to be the same FA as the unit,
you can have much better symmetry. Yeah, it'll be great for someone with an awkward mind like mine. So, yeah, I mean that could be good.
Yeah, was it the kid from Soul Eater? Death the Kid from Soul Eater.
Oh, I haven't watched that one. I remember seeing
okay.
Soul Eater, but I haven't actually watched that one yet.
Yeah, there's a kid that is crazy OCD about symmetry, and the irony is he has three white stripes in his hair on half of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's perfect. That's right up my alley. That's pretty much how it is. It's like, yeah, everything must be symmetric, but there's some exceptions. There's some special cases.
Yeah. Anyways,
for weapon crews, it'd be great to see more.
Yeah, it would be great to see more. We'll see as time carries on and as we actually get the rules.
I think the main thing is when it comes down to point cost and how you build a Mark III army, all this is fairly abstract. Like, there's no real way to really determine if something is worth its points. But I'll say if it can be fairly accurate and it has enough damage that it's not limited to only taking out a certain model. Like, let's take the trencher chain gun, for example. If you were to take that in Mark II, it's a Palatine gun. There's only so many things you can kill with a Palatine gun. Like, even if we're just talking infantry. So, if you give them an additional die versus some models, well, now you can actually take on multi-wound infantry or just high armor infantry in general, like just the armor 18 single wound guys or armor 22 single wound guys that sometimes exist. So that's great. I think that's really good to give them better target selection, giving brutal damage, a higher POW on your armor pierce, just giving, like, the Thumper got +2 POW on it and it still has momentum and all that. So just greater threat ranges, greater power. It'll really come down to how good your accuracy is, to where... And whether or not a 6-point model whiffing a shot is a big deal in Mark III or not.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you have a 3-point solo, like a power solo at that point, and that power solo charges and does nothing for you, that sucks.
It does. This is why Lord of the Feast does not get played, is because he's 4 points.
Yeah.
And when he doesn't do anything, that really sucks.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at, like, Mage Hunter Assassins and all that, if they
Mage Hunter Assassins you bring anyways for control more than actual capability.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I guess there are some cases where certain solos, if they just die without really doing anything, especially the combat ones, it just feels like an utter waste. Or if you bring Kel Belloc and they don't have anything you can shoot with, or shoot at. The same with like Strider Deathstalkers.
Yep.
Usually they're okay for holding scenarios and all that.
Oh,
But if
God.
these things aren't incredibly mobile, we're talking 3 and 4 inch movements. Whereas a solo that is like 2 or 3 points in a combat solo is usually moving. It can run like 12 to 14, right?
Yeah.
So here you're talking running 6 to 8 inches. Unless it's AD, it's not going to have a great scenario presence. It does have the take-up rule. So you might be able to finagle it a little bit if they don't have AoEs or E-leaps or anything like that, to where you can make it kind of a pain in the ass to kill. But,
yeah. But just think about Strider Deathstalkers. They keep Snapfire, they keep Swift Hunter. They still look awesome. But we don't know point cost.
so you want to move into Legion, since Legion was first then? Because Weapon Cruise was just kind of hit it and run.
Yeah,
hit and run.
Weapon Cruise was hit and run. There's we got more from Cavalry from Scorn.
Yeah, we'll leave the Cav alone for now, because that's one that I was, I think we even mentioned on here certain things we wanted to see, and we did see some things, and some other things are a little questionable.
Looks like we can see on here, Tall in the Saddle and Ride By attacks are gone, which makes sense to me. That's why they started giving reposition out to Cav.
Ride By being gone's great. I think we complained about Ride By already here, where it's like, when you're built around charging and you have an ability that says don't charge, yeah, at that point you're really only in the rule set for mounted casters.
Yeah, I am somewhat surprised that impact attacks are still a thing.
Well, I guess Tall and Saddle will hit real quick. That removes mostly the jank that you can pull with mounted warcasters and warlocks.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, it's sometimes important when you're a Cav model and you want to charge a backline model, but oftentimes you're a large base and they're a small base, so usually it doesn't matter. But there are instances where it does, and that's sort of gone now.
If Tall in the Saddle mattered, it's because you're doing impacts on the way.
And that's exactly why you would do it, is to target a model that you normally couldn't target. That way you can get the best impact line possible. So some of that jank, some of that creativity is gone, and that's something I think Ben and I will hit on a few times. Is
so much creativity is gone.
Removing clever gameplay or maybe abstract ways of thinking from the game. But they got rid of the +2 to your mat when you charge on Cav.
Yep. Instead, it's boosted hits.
And the thing that will be interesting here is if the mount attack and the impact, so this would be the impact attacks, if those are boosted. Because that would be the redeeming factor of making Cav relevant in the game. Because Horthol and the Long Riders, that was one of the great things that they brought to the table, is they said, hey, we're +2 mat on our charge attack, and our impact attacks don't suck. Because if you've played Cav, you probably know, if you charge a model and you're not in melee range of your actual charge target, and you fail your impact, you're fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that note, subtle thing in there from the Ferox with the, if they jump, their mount attacks get boosted damage, right?
Yep.
Mount attacks can be boosted now.
Yes.
Before
the damage rolls were a very odd thing.
No, in Mark II, mount attacks cannot be boosted, period. It had to be additional die in order for it to work.
That's right, that's right.
So if you were like Cav, you charged with the mount, you wouldn't get the boosted damage roll, you would only get 2 dice, because it couldn't be boosted, but and the only time that came up that I know of is Morvana.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the only reason you know this is because you played Morvana too. Yeah, that's the only reason you know it.
Has knockdown.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like they are simplifying the Cav a little bit.
Yeah.
The mount was always a weird thing in Cav rules. Because it wasn't really a melee attack, but it kind of was, and there are so many threads that you can look up on the confusion of Cavalry.
Oh my gosh. And there's still going to be a bunch of threads you can look up on Cavalry even after. I mean, especially when it comes to impact attacks.
Yeah, I mean...
if it's still, you have to get base to base with a model, and then you attack everything within a half inch.
And that includes your own models. So, There are a number of lovely things that I do like. You're not a fan of impacts because of the confusion they create. I liked impacts because they create a reason to have Cav in the game.
Yeah.
It allows your 5-man unit that is highly costed to be able to take out much, like it can hit way above its weight limit, right?
Yeah,
it can take out 3 or 4 dudes.
With impacts, for me personally, I just wish they treated it more like a trample. Not necessarily limited to small bases, but you just go and your horse or mount or whatever is literally trampling because of horses, or clawing, mauling, whatever on the way there. It also, doing it that way would potentially give more attacks available to the mount, depending on...
The only thing that gets a little awkward...
Also, they don't freaking fail their charge when they don't kill with the impact.
That's very true, and it would allow them to just bypass infantry.
Yeah.
And since you're a high-speed model, I could see where that's not bad. That kind of takes away some of the utility that impacts bring. That's kind of like you would just use them in a different way at that point. And it would make your rule set a bit more simplified, since it's like, the thing that's kind of funny is the War Wagon has trample on it. I believe the Kador gun carriage also has trample on it. So maybe they experimented with that a little bit, and then maybe decided not. But whatever it may be, it looks like Cab will get a little bit of a boost here. It'll kind of depend on those impact attacks, if those are counted as a boosted attack roll as well, because if they are, you will see Cav in the game. If they're not, which, you know, we're not really expecting them to be, I think it's safe to say that Cav are going to see about as much play as they see in Mark II, which is rare.
But they're FA2 now. FA2.
They're FA2. This boosted attack roll thing, fantastic for Battle Wizard Cav.
Oh, yes.
Which, there's the new Rune Shaper guys on goats, and there's the classic Battle Wizard guy.
The Black Clads on goats?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
I was like, you're fucking, yeah, Rune Shaper. They steal Rune Shaper shit anyway, right?
They're Black Clads. Oh, whatever.
They throw rocks around, too.
Yes. Except these ones are lightning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, those ones are lightning. So they steal from... They steal from another faction, but those guys, and then the original Decador Greylord guys, they were also Battle Wizard dudes. Giving them a boosted attack roll, that's fantastic. You can actually use Battle Wizard now, and they're actually going to be cool. So the Greylord guys, they have a spray, and the Black guys, I just briefly looked at them. I don't remember what they had.
It's a single target electrical attack. I think it's range 8.
Does that have Elite though?
It'll be Mark III before they're released. So
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, pretty much.
But giving them that, those are actually useful now. They're cool. They'll be really cool.
Provided they still have Battle Wizard and all that other
stuff. Provided they still have Battle Wizard, But so if they keep that sort of stuff, having sorcerers on Cav will actually be fucking cool.
Oh, shit.
I will like to use some unit like that. And the other thing that they have is, even if you don't charge, you can make an attack with your mount, since they combine light and heavy cav. I think that's a great change. I would like to see all mounts be at least PAL 12, but, you know, that's going to be questionable.
Random note, the Siege Animatrax is now considered a cavalry model.
I mean...
Also, I'll have to... we'll hunt it down in the search later, but... It apparently can't be repaired by the Gobbert Tinker anymore, or it can be targeted from healing effects that target war beasts.
Yeah.
That thing got weird.
I wonder how it's going to be for the Throne of Everblight.
Oh, yeah. Huh?
They're going to be like, it's Everblight, who gives a shit? Yeah. Go Gobbert Tinker.
Tinker can still find a wrench to put in that thing.
So if they make the Throne of Everblight a Cav model, I think a lot of these battle engine things, if it makes sense, they probably should be Cav sort of models.
Oh, yeah, the Animatrix makes sense, and it's got Reposition 3.
Yeah, because I think that'll make them far more effective. Just, if you give your battle engines a boost mechanic, a multitude of attacks, and if you give them mobility, which Cav is one of the easiest ways to give them mobility.
Yes.
Just because they'll gain Reposition 3. Previously, it was because you gave them Ride By and whatnot. But if you do those things, then you'll actually see battle engines on the table.
Agreed.
So,
Okay,
the Legion of Everblight.
Legion of Everblight. One thing I just want to go on is effing rakes. They are so stupid in Mark
This
3.
is out of order.
What the hell?
This is out of order.
This is so out of order.
Because the way it started when the Legion spoiler dropped, many tears were shed.
Yes. Carnivane, Scythian, Ravagore chassis, they are now Speed 5.
Snack a dick. So
Spiny Growth is range self.
So about the Speed 5 or Speed 6 thing, there was only one Warbeast in the game that could rival the Scythian supremacy. Because when you looked, and even then the Scythian was not always used, but he was the best, the absolute best pure melee Warbeast in the game. Warbeast, Warjack, everything in the game.
Yes.
Because Speed 6, Pathfinder, 2 reach initials.
Yep.
And
a chain attack bloodbath, which if you get it off is freaking amazing.
It's amazing. It gives him ability to deal with, especially with his animus, he could deal with infantry, he could deal with heavies.
Take down animus. He didn't send him against anything and know he's going to kill it.
Yeah, I mean, his balancing factor was point cost 9, which is high-ish, but, you know, you could justify a 10 for him.
Yep.
And he's mat 6. Those were the balancing factors to him, I thought.
Yeah.
So now he loses his speed, and there is now only one, maybe, Speed 6 Pathfinder, 1 reach initial Warbeast left in the game. Who's that?
Stalker!
Yeah, he's gonna get the fucking Nerf bat.
No! Don't touch my Werewolf.
Yeah, so Stalker was the only thing that could rival it, and it was very similar in that, hey, we have Berserk instead. Only 1 reach initial, but hey, we teleport, so we don't have to worry about charging.
But hey, what about Speed 7 Flight reach?
I mean, the
Angelius is still going to have that.
The Angel will still have that. The thing about the Angel, it had Overtake, which was good. But yeah, the PAL 14 Armor Pierce thing, and only 1 initial, and you're working with 4 Fury, 3 if you charged. It could kill infantry, just it wasn't the efficiency that the Scythian was.
No, it wasn't.
Flight definitely helped it out a little bit, but the Scythian was kind of a, I felt for Warbeast, that should be what you strive to be, essentially.
Yeah.
You would ideally have something like that in each faction, but we obviously didn't have that.
Agreed.
So they got a hit. You know,
got a hit.
It limits
every Legion Beast got a hit with the changes to Eyeless Sight.
Yeah. So you can no longer see through force, which, believe it or not, that was a big thing for the Scythian as well.
Yep.
It's where it's not just that I have Pathfinder. Not only do I have Pathfinder, but I don't care about force.
Yeah. I can see you when you can't see me.
So
this is great.
So there's still only one Warbeast that kind of has that, and that's a teleporting Stalker.
With the Sprint Animus.
Yeah, so here comes that Nerf bat. But, as you mentioned, well, let's start with the other Animus that we learned of first. And this, many tears were shed. Tenacity, bye-bye.
Is gone. Is no longer exists.
So, as someone,
I'm okay with this, actually.
As someone that played Legion and that really enjoyed playing Legion, Tenacity made your Carnivan chassis bees, which no one used the Carnivan, so who gives a shit. It made your Scythians respectable in terms of a stat line, because they were 12, 19, 30 boxes.
Yes.
So, base, they were 11, 18, which is 1 less defense than a Troll Heavy, but 2 more boxes. Tenacity made it worth it.
11, 18, you look at that going,
it's bad.
Your def and arm are at least 1 lower than they probably should be for a heavy, and then you realize, oh, they have tenacity in the... Oh, that's why.
That's why, yeah.
I mean...
So they didn't get a stat boost, though. And now we find...
and they're slower.
Now we later find that their other armor buff that exists, Spiny Growth,
is self only. And it's duplicated.
And if we think about the Yeah, it can be duplicated as well. That's one thing.
It has been duplicated. I think one of the Nephilim has it as well.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about spreading the Animus out so you can have multiple copies of the Animi throughout the faction, which that's something we can hit on a little bit later. But I want to hit the Bull Snapper real quick, and the Bull Snapper was not only a transfer bot, but he was a buff bot. That's why he existed. So you're taking away Gators. I also played Gators. I have recently sold both Legion and Gators. Prior to all this stuff coming out. But, so you took away Rise from the Wrestler.
Yep. But Rage! No more pillows!
But then you also take away Spiny Growth. Those were two of the defining things in the faction.
Yes. Yes, they were.
So you Spiny Growth your Gators and you throw them out there and you have a great time.
That's Maylock.
And then...
you Spiny Growth your Galleon if you're playing Mercs.
Yeah, like... wow, that's a hell of a change. And this is kind of leading into that when we look at the Snipe Animus, which is now Self.
Yeah.
A lot of the buff taxes that existed in the game, the Tenacity tax, if you wanted to call it that, the Spiny Growth tax, if you wanted to call it that, the Snipe tax, I mean, that one's a bit more relevant because you saw it in the ranges of your guns. Exactly.
I mean, Privateer Press has flat out admitted that, there was a snipe tax in Trolls.
There's definitely a snipe tax.
Scorn? What range game?
Scorn, they're not supposed to have a range game. Like, that's just flat out. They're not supposed to have a range game. They're giving them a bit more of a range game. But we'll get to that.
Well, no, it was like Scatterbrain, the Eridus soldier, has chain weapon on his claws now. What the
But this is leading to Ben's earlier comment about Primal losing a map buff.
No!
I like to, since we don't have Circle spoilers, I like to give Ben a hard time about Circle getting nerfed to all hell, because we've seen a number of things that are going to fuck it over, but...
most place effects are going to be completely within, and shifting
reduces,
zones are going to be completely within.
That reduces some of your unpredictability a bit.
I'm still hoping for completely within 10.
I mean, that helps a bit.
It would put heavies at the same threat that they are now.
It would. So the problem with, and well, man, we're skipping, but we'll just briefly touch on place effects and the way within, because this affects burrowers as well, right? So when you say burrowers pop up within 5 inches.
Well, they've changed the Enigma Foundry, so they'll probably change burrowers to a similar effect.
The thing is, whenever you thought of these within, it worked the same way with teleports, it worked the same way with the burrower place.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're getting rid of it is it's fairly simple, actually. When you looked at something that said within, it said within 5 for burrowers, right?
Yeah.
So you think, okay, 5 inches of that. And then they start popping them out and just a hair of their base is within 5, and you're like, I didn't account for that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Stalker teleport.
You teleport. Earlier, it's like, hey, I'm just going to measure the template, and I'm going to put my guy up the edge of this template.
Yep.
What? That works?
So there goes your unpredictability a bit. It makes things more predictable. It makes things more in line with pre-measuring in the game.
Yep.
Because if you want to say, all right, let's say that they teleport 10 inches now. So you say, okay, so if I'm 12 inches away from that shifting stone, you can't teleport and have reach on me.
Yeah. Which is what it was already.
It's what it was already. But
post double teleport nerf.
But technically, you could be at 12 inches away and be out of your melee range, right?
Yeah, by 0.02 inches.
Because it's 1.98, right?
Yeah.
So there are all sorts of little things that kind of come into play. And it's not just that. There's a within, and then there's within, and then kind of over sort of thing, and all these sorts of things.
And then you have to keep track of which abilities are within and which abilities are completely within. Which, for streamlining, whatever.
So that removes some noob stomp from the game, and I think that making everything completely within will probably make the game a bit simpler.
Yeah.
But it's also going to remove a lot of the nuance from the game. It removes a lot of abstract thinking. And, I mean, maybe we'll have to see how a game of Mark III looks when it's played. But a lot of the changes that I'm seeing, it's like, we want to remove the unpredictability from the unpredictable armies.
Yeah.
Scorn and Trolls could be unpredictable because they had hard to kill things. What happens when you make Legion and Circle predictable?
Yeah. All I know about Circle is, according to the Primecast, we're still shifty as ever.
Shifty, not unpredictable.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
So,
and Tharn Ravagers are still going to suck.
For anyone that likes Circle, I think Primal is still going to exist. It's just a matter of how it exists.
Yep.
And that's just based on the fluff that they put out. What I was reading, I very much felt that Primal was being used. So, you know, fluff does not equal rules, and we'll see. Maybe it's Rage, who knows. But if they remove the map buff from Primal, or if Primal is somehow altered or it's Rage or anything like that, it's going to be a little sad. But it will remove that primal tax that you've been paying. That 4-point Gorax, he's been completely worthless, right?
It's been such a pain to bring a 4.4 Fury freaking awesome Animus with Transfer Bot.
Oh, he can charge for free after you put some damage on him from transferring to him.
Exactly,
right?
it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Oh, you do one damage to my wallet? Cool, I'm going to transfer it because I can, and he's got free power attacks and charges.
That's a proper buff bot. That's a buff bot that is actually useful. Yeah, some of the other buff bots, not so much. So they removed buff bots. I think that's good. They're duplicating some animi that we've learned in the Legion Insider.
By the way, I hope every animi that's duplicated is range self. Otherwise, that just opens up too many possibilities for beasts to be completely neglected.
Yeah. So the way I posed the question to Ben is, I said, well, at least if you have a shitty war beast, there might be a good version with the animus that you want.
Yep.
My point in case for that is Rock, because I would love to have a 4-point primal animus.
Oh yeah, it's pretty great.
Not an 11-point character. Fucking A. And we'll hit characters real quick. No more character restrictions.
Yep, that's a change into Steamroller as opposed to Mark III.
So
Mark III was balanced around that.
If we talk about that just really quick, some characters were far more impactful than others.
Yeah.
Some characters are going to be changed because of this.
Fucking Brenos.
Yeah, there are some characters that may be too powerful. They'll likely be changed, and we'll hit that in the Scorn Insider. The Scorn Insider will cover that character. But what this means for trolls, for all you troll players out there, all those troll lovers, is now you can bring a Reach Heavy in more than one list.
Yay!
Isn't that crazy to think that there's a faction that exists, there's just one, that due to character restrictions could only bring one Reach Heavy War Beast, and only in one list? Isn't that retarded? Can you believe that exists in this game?
I can. And that's part of why I don't ever want to play Trolls.
That's part of why you don't play Trolls.
Yeah.
As part of why, if you're a sane individual and you want to play War Beasts, that you don't play Trolls. So that's good for Trolls. They're going to take away his reach.
Oh.
They're like, hey, you get no Reach Heavies. How about that? Take your Gargantuan.
That better make Brenos freaking good for once instead of 3 points over.
So we saw in the Legion Insider, Proteus got buffed.
Yep.
We also saw Grievous Wounds is a pile of shit. Grievous Wounds will no longer prevent you from transferring.
Oh.
So, Grievous Wounds used to be this absolute dick punch in Hordes.
Like, tag it on a Warlock and watch him die.
Yeah, if you had... So, a classic example is Madrak. He had crit Grievous Wounds. If he hit the crit, he probably killed you.
Yep.
Another example that was really good...
Tags.
Yeah, another example that was really good is Saren. She walks 7, throws 7. If she hits you with a stupid little ninja star, you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. Yep. And she has 3 chances to do it, which is even better. It's like, okay, Saren, thanks.
I know, right?
And then there were a few other cases where it existed where they just had Grievous Wounds, and if they tagged you with it...
Grievous Wounds on a stick. Oh, friggin' cricks, those stupid stalkers.
Yeah. They just tag you and then, hey, good game. Thanks for playing. Yep. So that's gone. So it now says you can no longer remove damage, which also includes repairs.
Yes.
Which is interesting, I think.
I can see justification for it fluff wise, and I'm okay with it.
Sucks to be a War Machine faction.
I know, right?
Especially if you see
Oh,
Grievous Wounds
God.
exist more because of this change. If it
Yeah.
exists more because of this
Because
change,
there's-
it's like, hey, your repairs work now. Except we gave Grievous
Automatically.
Wounds to all this shit.
Yeah. And guess what? It's still easier to take out systems on a Jack than a Beast.
Yep, definitely.
Because there's more
Only
systems
need one.
on a Jack.
Only need one. One of three. And really, for the most case, you need Spirit. So it's like,
Yeah.
outside of that, you can usually make do, depending on what you're going after.
Yeah,
So,
but a Jack, you lose an arm, and oh well, there goes half your attacks.
so they spoil Proteus, and one of the other things that we see on Proteus is that affinities, gone.
Yep.
Bonds, gone. And the way that we
Bonds,
knew them in
very
Mark II.
different.
Yeah, and the way we knew them
Very
in Mark II, a bond existed on a few of the old epic warlocks, the original epics.
Yep.
And it was a bond on them. They could bond to a Jack, and I don't know if there was a case of a Beast. I don't think there was.
No, it was special issue or
Affinity. So
Affinity
there used to be
or something like
affinities. Now there's just a bond. So Proteus bonds to Absoloni, and that's how he gets his Grievous Wounds.
yep.
So that'll be an interesting change, I think. That you don't add more complication to the Warcaster's cards, and it just becomes the person who I see really hates this is Haley too. Maybe Sorcerer 2 a little bit because she almost always bonded to Beast 09.
Yeah.
Sometimes Conquest, which was annoying on Conquest. But
But-
mostly it's Haley 2. Yeah,
Hey,
maybe Fiora
yeah.
2.
Okay, yeah.
Her bond was
Fiora
actually
not
good.
being able to bond to Judy anymore.
Yeah, her bond was good because she's like, hey, light everything on fire, Judy.
Yeah.
That was good.
Watch
That was
it
a good bond.
Watch it become a spell, or even worse, a field marshal ability.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, hey, Field Marshal, light everything on fire.
Yeah. Suck it.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But Haley, maybe Fiora 2, and, so maybe Sorcerer 2. Maybe there's a few areas where the casters really don't like seeing this, but overall I think it'll simplify your character war beast a bit, and hopefully more characters get a bond. Because Proteus, there was no bond that existed between him and Abby before.
Yeah.
He had no affinity, is more to say. He was just a special issue sort of guy. So maybe we'll see more. Maybe Rock will gain reach when he's with Orca. His cripple hand works better.
Hey, we know it's going to be range 1.
Yeah, at least, right?
At least, yes. Oh my god.
So the bond change is interesting. Also, bonds don't affect your threshold or any of that shit anymore.
Yep, unless it specifically says so.
Yeah, it's not going to allow you to allocate an extra focus or any of that crap. What it
Yeah.
says on the card is what you get. So you simplified the rules a bit. I think that's all great, actually. He has chain weapon and pull, or chain strike and pull. I forget which.
Chain
Proteus.
strike, I think.
Proteus.
Yeah, I think they're calling it chain strike now.
And then he has a weird animus where if you're base to base, you can only advance the change facing, and you lose to death.
Yeah.
He
He
has unyielding, so he's an 11/20.
Don't know how many boxes yet.
Don't
but-
know how many boxes. I'm gonna assume he's 30 still.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how he is because he was not played at all. No one played him.
No. Well, what we see the resculpt, and the joke was, man, so many people are going to buy Proteus by accident.
Yeah. So hopefully he's in a position where he competes against some of the other war beasts.
Yeah.
He has a greater threat range than the Scythians, so hey, that's a start.
I know.
We saw Bethane got a new feat.
Yes.
She used to get boosted magical
Magica.
attack rolls,
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
Now she gives flank to friendly faction. So
Yeah,
warrior models gain flank friendly faction war beast.
Yep.
And one of the things someone told me is like, that seems like a shit feat. I'm like, have you heard of a spawning vessel? You spawn something, aka a Harrier. It flies to wherever it wants to go.
How about a Stinger that's got reach?
Stinger has reach. Harrier flies 14 inches.
Yeah.
You could go rabid with the Shredder, run all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
You can engage what you want. You just get spot additional die and +2 mat. I think it's a fairly good feat. I feel like it's a good feat. We'll
Yep.
see how it goes in practice. And that's part of there. We want to make Legion not just bring 5 heavies, which for me, I'm glad I don't have Legion now because I just want to play 5 heavies. So 5 heavies with a few solos, and I'm good.
Yeah. I still want to go over how freaking stupid the Rake is going to be in Mark III.
So Rake was a great scenario piece.
Yes.
And when Charles did the famous flying headbutt under a certain Denegra feat versus a certain opponent that absolutely rage quit after, it became famous, and you saw more and more ranks pop up because they're like, hey, those are actually pretty cool,
defense
right?
15, stealth, 4 points, super mobile. Hell, why not?
So now, what do they look like?
So see, they are 8 points, aka 4 points in our system. They keep stealth. They keep bounding leap. The tail went to range 1. Oh, they finally got a buff. Their Animus instead of parry, which was who gave a
Shadow Shift. I think it was Shadow Shift.
Shadow Shift.
Because
it's now cost 1 and countercharge.
Pro tip: when you place, you don't give a shit about free strikes.
Exactly.
So.
However, they gained extended control range, and they kept defense 15. Oh, and backstrikes no longer care about where you start,
which takes us to a quick scorn thing in the Cav, because the Scorn Cav also leap. They're leaping kitties.
Yeah.
That gives them a map buff when you're in back arcs. Always. You don't have to start in someone's back arc. So this is also great for anyone that has acrobatics, where you're able, if you have enough movement to, granted the way charges work in Mark II, you cannot charge into someone's back arc. But you know, that little jankiness aside, if you have the movement to walk back there, or walk and jump in the case of the Ferox and and this little asshole.
Or walk and shoot.
Yep, walk and shoot, walk and jump, just be in a back arc, whatever.
Yep.
All those things will make it so that you get a nice little rat buff, which is great, and then there are a number of abilities like backstab and I think
Opportunist.
There are a few that give you an additional die of damage in back arc as well. So, all that's pretty cool.
By the way, unless the Rake's mat dropped, this is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, he was mat 6. He was
mat 6.
He was a fairly competent combat light, one of the few that existed in the game. I would put the Gorax, the Rake, the Naga Night Lurker, and can you think of any others that were competent combat lights? Axer was...
okay. Axer was competent because of his Animus. The freaking Impaler I hate because of the crit knockdown.
Yeah, I think Trolls you can maybe say there are a few with the
Fire Troll's a pretty good combat light.
Yeah. Those ones, they oftentimes felt like buff bots, whereas I mean,
and
Gorax is kind
of a buff bot.
He's kind of a buff bot, but he's 4 Fury and he has 2 initials. And, you know,
awesome.
With his own Animus, he's like, hey, I'm Mat 8, bitch. So, I mean, those were all good things for him.
Mat 8, POW 14.
Naga Night Lurker had a Rat 6 magical gun, which made it awesome, especially since the gun was range 10 and speed 6. I mean, that thing was great.
On a Nihilus sight thing.
Yeah, on a Nihilus sight thing at that. So maybe a few existed in the game. I think the Scorn shooter, the one that also had snipe, was also competent.
The Cyclops Raider.
I believe that one aimed for eyeless sight. So there were a few competent ones, but overall, you saw lights as like these things that were. Does it have a good Animus? No, not bringing it. And there were a few exceptions that existed. So I would like to see lights come up a bit because in general, War Machine had far superior lights. And when I say War Machine, I really mean Repenters.
Repenters are heavies.
Sorry, what's the name? Everything's a Rejack and Menoth. The name of the guys that have the flamethrower.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they were Rat 7 POW 14 with battles on them, so I mean they were very competent lights, and they were also like 28 damage boxes. Very competent lights. Outside of that, you had the Aspis because it had Shield Guard and Beatback.
Shield Guard, Beatback, Phoenix Field.
what's the name, Centurion or Sentry or something like that, and Signar, the shield
guard
guy.
Centurion was a heavy as well.
That one's a heavy too, yeah, that's the polarity shield. There was some guy in Signar that had shield guard that you would take sometimes. The Devout and Menoth you would also take because they had shield guard and had the spell immunity thing. Hunter is another good one, yep.
The Retribution Griffin.
Yep, the Griffin. Also, with the shield, good damage boxes, and with his actual shield, a decent armor stat.
Yeah, armor 18, 20-something boxes, 4 points, Pathfinder, reach. So, War Machine typically had lights that were better suited for this sort of thing. I think Vanguard right there, that's a great example of a combat light. So maybe Hordes will get a few more of these now. If we see more beasts kind of like the Rake, where it's got this good utility, good scenario presence, and it can kill a few things as well. That's all you really want out of light, unless it's something like a Noggin Nightlurker that's this awesome sniper sort of thing. Yeah.
You want a light to be able to be enough of a pain in the ass to kill so that it takes a significant amount of effort to remove it from the zone, and maybe it kills a few things.
Yeah. And on top of that, something I think worth mentioning is animi are defined as spells no matter who casts it, which we've seen in the wording a few times in the spellcaster gains blah 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 blah, or
really where we could see the biggest change with this is
blessed.
Yeah, blessed. Really, Retribution is where they ran into this the most of the time, because if it were an Animus, they would not ignore the effect. If it came from the Warlock, then it was a spell, and they would ignore the effect. And that's...
Is it the two most common blessed units? The Exemplar Errants and Menoth and Mage Hunter Strike Force?
Yep. And that's kind of a... Granted, if you were clever with your order of operations, you could ignore that buff. Or that buff that their faction had, you know, that ability that their faction had. And if you weren't clever, then you could just give them, like it would be for free. It wouldn't even matter if you put out the animi or not, if you did it from your Warlock.
Yeah.
So, some of that cleverness is gone. Everything's spell effects, so hey, blessed. And right now it looks like everything has blessed, right? You want to rant about some icons?
Okay, God, no.
It looks like everything has fucking blessed because it's magic weapon and we think it's fucking blessed.
I know, I'm freaking pissed at the icons right now.
Cav's an icon.
Why? Why is Cav an icon? That seems like one of the
Solus is an icon.
Fucking A.
There's an icon for everything.
Flight at least makes sense for an icon, but...
Chain weapon's an icon.
Whatever.
There's icons for fucking everything.
Why the fuck is Cavalry an icon? Why could that not stay a keyword? Is this because of Cray? Like,
you know,
that's the only way to gain Cav.
They want to put icons on like all sorts of cards. You know, they're like, we got rid of A-Bomb and Terror and Commander and
what card cannot fit the word Cavalry?
Yeah, it should be able to fit it in the metadata.
Yeah.
So maybe they want to clean up the metadata, but these icons, they look like they're getting out of control.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Before we leave Scorn, because we're still on, or no, we're not on Scorn.
Legion.
We're on Legion. I had a rant for Scorn, but Legion. Legion players cried. You lost an SD. Spina Grothis only range cell.
I saw the rake and went, I have 2. I want 4 more.
Yeah, your combat lights are still going to be good. Thagrosh can't bring back Blightbringers anymore.
Damn it. Blightbringer's staying about the same with the point cost adjustment.
Archangels, yeah, if you had one, maybe you'll still play them. But
and despite the fluff saying Dragonfire shot, he does not have Dragonfire Animus.
Yeah. So, outside of that, you cannot heal all the damage boxes on a Blightbringer or an Archangel if you have Abbey 1.
Yeah.
And that's really it. They tried to buff up these grotesque raiders, and they're like, hey, they're good, right? No,
hey, speed 7! Speed 7!
So we say they're total shit, but they might not be, depending on how much you expect out of a 7 to 13. I think they were 7-13 for their point cost.
Yeah.
We really need to see what 7 to 13 point, what you expect out of that on the table. No, they might be okay.
This is definitely one of those we need to see the whole game. Anyways, we have this is going to be a long video, so Scorn Rant, go!
Scorn Rant. Oh man.
Fucking icons.
The icons. My scorn rant was, so we're really good at playtesting things now. We know how to balance a game.
And send things to the editors properly.
Yeah.
High command wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, guys, we've been doing this for a long time. We know how to do this now. We don't need your playtest. You've been playtesting it the whole time. We know how to do this shit, man.
Yep.
So they release a card. I remember when the Scorn Insider came out because the webpage kind of had a snafu and all that. And I was texting Ben as I'm eating my lunch. I was like, yeah, and it looks like Void Spirits can kill every living infantry model on the table. Shortly later that night, Ben sends me a message saying, yeah, it's already getting errata.
Yup.
And so, this, for me personally, you wanted us to trust you, PP, and say, yeah, we know how to balance shit, it'll be fine. This is a small thing. This is fairly easy to correct, but the card's already been printed. You already have a card that is incorrect.
Yep.
So
how the heck do I go to page 2 of Souls and say no matches?
Yeah, probably because the search timed out. Yeah, that's their website. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you guys want everyone to really trust you, that you can balance a game, and you can cover it up and say, no, we had once per turn, like this was in. Some motherfucker here remove that sentence. Like, how do you remove a fucking sentence? Like, come on.
I don't know.
Some guy's like, nah, I really love Scorn. We're gonna keep this. And so
3 words, once per activation.
Yeah. So this was a case where the way it works is a Void Spirit can, after it destroys a living enemy warrior model, it can teleport anywhere 8 inches on the table, pretty much.
Yeah.
And with Mordecai lanterns, as we call them, you can get Killing Spree, which is kill a model, advance an inch, kill another model, or make another attack. And Void Spirit's got boosted attack and damage rolls versus living enemy warrior models. So you can see that not only Killing Spree on a half-inch model, you can get a few models, but when you can teleport 8 inches, you can literally kill fucking everything.
Okay, here's the exact quote. Yep, that's what the card says. Unfortunately, somewhere between the rules getting finalized and the card getting laid out, the words once per activation got dropped from Voidwalk.
Yeah, them fuckers laying out the words on the card, it's not a balanced thing at all, no. We totally saw this. So, that leads the question to be, how many of these exploits are we going to find? Because how long did that take of that being up? Because I know I sent you a message and I looked, and you tell me later that they've already said that they're going to errata it. So obviously a number of people must have caught this on the forums.
Okay, so see, that came in 4:41 p.m. Holy crap!
Yeah, this thing dropped around 2:30. So
2:30. So a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure people caught this on the forums and they're pointing it out fairly quick. I mean, it was a fairly obvious interaction. As players,
that got errated faster than Hail Hydra, though.
Yeah, well, that's good. So this is the downside of PP doing their all-internal playtest. Don't worry, guys. We can balance the game. We've been doing this forever. We'll see how many things that... Because as a player, as a developer and as a player, you have 2 very different mindsets.
Yes.
If you're a player and you're looking at something, you're looking at, how can I break the game? That's the #1 thing you look for. And these things are fairly obvious. You look at the wording, you look at what loopholes you can have in the rules, and you find a way to get an exploit to happen.
Damn straight.
This is one example that they randomly threw up. And I'm sorry, but no one proofread this. No one looked at the cards. Yeah. No one thought about that. You didn't know this was happening. How did that not happen? They did not know it was coming. So you can cover it up and say someone laying out the words dropped
somehow between this and this.
Yeah, that's not really. So we should expect to see a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's limited to just a few, and hopefully they're not terrible.
Hopefully.
And hopefully we don't have like around 30 cards that need erratas right on the day that they sell them. Because it'll take the community
So
3 days, I would guess, max.
yeah. So here's the thing: they're going to release all the rules and everything June 12th publicly. Late June 11th for those that lock and load. June 12th, everything is available online. War Room is updated. Bets on a fairly decent errata on June 29th.
Yeah.
The official release of
I think that's safe. I would say that, to give them credit, we'll say by the following Friday that the community will have found at least 10 exploits.
Yeah.
Loopholes.
Oh, you know, I'm going to be
exploits.
digging through Circle for that type of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, with how many players there are players in every faction that want to find ways to bust the game, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I think by the following Friday, you will have them because of the internet. They will have spread, and you will see the rants and the flames and all that sort of stuff. And that's what happens when you have a closed mind when you're trying to develop such a huge game. Like you need,
when you also
need
don't have enough
input.
play testers as there are factions.
You need outside input. So that's my worry and rant for the way Mark III is going to go. Hopefully it's not terrible. Hopefully it doesn't kill the game. Because it could be bad if you have essentially an unplayable rule set because XYZ combination breaks the game and no one can really have no one can compete against it because we are going to have competitive tournaments that are following shortly after.
Yeah, WTC for one.
Yeah, and if XYZ break the game, then what are people going to do? They're either going to play that or not play. So that's not a good place to be, I don't think. So hopefully this is the exception to the rule and not the standard.
Yeah.
Hopefully we find.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think it'll kill the game.
I think if there's 10 or less, it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
They'll
get eroded quickly like this one, and then we'll move on.
The sad part is that, hey, we have new cards that have the correct rules on them, and except for these 10 or
June 29th. Why are there already version 2 cards?
Yeah, if there's 100 or more of these little things that you just kind of fucked up, it's not going to bode well.
Yep.
Fucking rake. Outside of that, Scorn. Hey, they realized that they fucked up Scorn.
Yep.
So that was good to hear. They still nerf Scorn, though. They're like, hey guys, we're sorry. We realized that we fucked up Scorn, but your Titans are too good. And Wallet Karn's too good. So we're going to dial some shit back, and we're going to rebalance your casters. So the Titans are a little sad now. They lost 1 to 2 defense, depending on which Titan you're talking about. Gladiators and Bronzebacks lost 2. And Sentries lost 1. Titans are now Def 10. Def 10, Armor 19. They go from one of the best stat lines in Hordes to one of the worst stat lines in Hordes. Bronzeback also loses his 5th Fury. It's now Fury 4.
Yeah.
Cannoneer gets Fury 3 as a heavy, which is god-awful.
I know. Feel my wold.
Yeah, so, man, I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but it was a little bit questionable whether or not the Paingiver Taskmasters still gave a free charge.
Yeah, I don't think that's been fully clarified yet.
Yeah, because if they do give a free charge, it's not a big deal for Scorn. If they don't give a free charge anymore, Scorn's going to be really hurting. They wanted to make their infantry a bit more impactful, but they nerfed their best infantry because they were overshadowing the other options.
Yep.
Which is a little questionable, a little sad.
Nerf to balance, right?
Nerf to balance. I mean, it could be fine. The thing that was...
Dang it, I can't find the exact post right now. There was a quote I wanted to show you.
Yeah, I know that. I know that post.
Scornergy does not exist. Some people don't like options.
So, this is a little bit of the old Jason Souls coming out.
Yeah.
The Jason Souls that I remember from when I first started the game. So someone has a snarky-ass comment where they're saying, yay, Scornergy still exists. They're being a dick or whatever. And Jason Souls is a very blunt person, I would say, just from my limited interactions with him and my basic looking at the internet and all that. Very much like myself, in that if someone says some shit to you, you're going to fire right back. And so, yeah, he had a great comment back, which I personally enjoyed. And he's like, yeah, some people just don't like options. And that was in regards to the Ferox, where people are like, oh, you charge your Ferox, but then they don't get that awesome mount rule, pounce, wherever they are in back arcs or whatever. Or if you don't charge, you get a boosted damage die. And yeah, he's 100% right, because sometimes you don't want a linear fucking threat range. You want an abstract threat range. You don't want to just go, especially if you're scoring where everything's so goddamn predictable. If you can advance 8 and leap, it is sometimes far more beneficial, because what you're trading off here is if you charge, you get a boosted damage roll on your charge attack. On your charge attack. We'll negate the the whole map buff now, and you also get +2 power.
Oh, excuse me.
Because brutal charge on the axe. If you walk and leap, you get boosted POW 12 instead of POW 14. Other than that, it's roughly the same. So your damage output is very similar. You have 2 very good options with them. One of them is a very linear threat range, which will work in some cases. The other one is a very abstract threat range, which is awesome.
Oh, there it is. That is the
Scornergy does not exist. Some people don't like options.
With regards to Cyclops, actually.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
Oh, well.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. The Ferox kind of annoyed me, though. Was it really necessary to keep the Scorner jig going? It feels like you have a unit that is very expensive that can never use all its rules. Yeah. Well, you either... Well, we'll just leave that person alone.
Yeah.
But, hey, good on Jason Souls for firing back at some of these people, because I could not stand half of the people that posted in these forums, personally.
Oh, my God.
It would be very difficult for me to be nice to some of them. And that's why I don't post on the forums.
Yeah, I don't post on the forums much either.
It's hard to be nice to people on the internet, because you don't have context in the way they're saying it, so you just read it how you interpret it, and you're just going to think everyone's being a whiny bitch or pretentious douche.
Yeah, it's like, no, seriously anymore, if I go on the forums, I'm just going to look at the PPS staffers' posts and maybe in the press gang forums.
So... I guess outside of that, the big news is they want to make so they have very straightforward beasts and infantry, and they want to add the variants through your different warcaster warlocks that you break, warlocks in this case.
Yep.
Which I think is good. It's exactly what you need in Scorn. The power of their faction needs to rely on the warcaster, warlock, because everything is like their infantry, their beasts, they're very predictable and bland without that.
They are.
And they made them overall worse. They made the infantry worse by reducing the boxes on the medium base stuff. They made your beasts worse because they lowered their defense and they got rid of paralytic aura and gave you force barrier. So if you take your Kriya, you still get Def 12 verse range instead of Def 14. So I'm sorry, that sucks to be you, Scorn. Hey, I had Scorn too. I gave that one away. No, I traded some of it for Troll. I traded the majority of it for Trolls. And then I gave the rest of it to Riley. And that was mostly because, I played Scorn and they were okay-ish. They were essentially Trolls. It was like almost the same thing.
Except they're a bit faster.
And their casters were a little bit better than the Troll casters. So I'll be excited to see what they do with Trolls, because they need some way to spice it up. Because that is a very, your caster does not matter at all in that faction. Your caster brings you almost nothing. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Trolls. But the Molokarn nurse, he's 20 points, which is technically cheaper than the current Molokarn.
Yep.
He only gets sidestep with MKIII.
Exactly.
And he's only going to be Fury 4 ever.
Yeah.
No more of that affinity bullshit.
He still has Weapon Master.
Overall, other than that, he was pretty much the same. Right?
Pretty much.
From everything I remember, it was pretty much the same, except for the whole we only sidestep with MKIII thing.
Yeah.
So I think he's still going to be a great beat stick with mini casters. They did talk about Tiberian, and I think it was that he got overtake with Xerxes.
I think that's what it was.
I'm going purely off memory here.
Same here.
And I think he lost the
exactly
immovable object thing.
I don't think they've said anything about a movable
yeah,
object, but
they did on that one, and that it was indirect, and that someone said is that it's safe to assume that he no longer has that a movable object is either changed or gone, and Jason Soul said it's safe to assume that, yes. Okay. So it's kind of a harder one to find. Yeah. But yeah, the immovable object will be sort of gone, but overall he could be better. At least there's more of a choice. Granted, I thought Tibbers and Karn were good examples of what characters should be in a faction. Yeah. One of them was, oh my god, damage output. The other one was, I still got damage output, but I'm also a great scenario piece. So, yep. I thought they were both good characters, and I played both of them when I played the faction, and I think if you look at tournament pairings, you see both of them. So, I think that was a good example. Both of them probably nerfed.
Most definitely. With the overall arching concept of they're seeming to do nerf to balance, which, again, what the fuck with the rakes?
Yeah, let's keep the rakes fine.
Yeah. No, let's make them better.
I mean, maybe it's because it's underutilized and they're...
How are they underutilized?
They have vast knowledge
the response to the comment was the dude already had 6.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, yeah, the rakes, you saw even up to 3 of them in some lists most recently because scenario became a very impactful part of the game. The more scenario became like not losing on scenario, contesting scenario somehow, and just having that unpredictability from a model just because it could leap.
Yep.
Right. Those things kept you gave a good reason to actually play the damn thing. So I guess we'll see what happens with some of those combat lights. But then they spoiled more stuff on Legion. For whatever reason. Some people asked nicely for Legion spoilers, I guess, and Schick obliged, and then everyone else asked for spoilers, and
yeah, which we did get some more Scorn spoilers as well, and yeah.
The reality is that we're not seeing a lot of information at this point. There are factions that are going to feel like they don't know anything about their faction.
Circle.
Yeah, Circle, Trolls. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Signar, because they want to remove the dependency that they have on mercs in their, which is sort of sad, but
speaking of purification exists only in Menoth.
Only in Menoth, and you'll only have weaker versions of it in other factions.
Yep.
That's a good change overall, I think.
Agreed.
There were many casters that just could not be played because if you hit a purification list, you're fucked.
Morvana 1!
Morvana 1's a great example of that. Syntherian's a great example of that. There were a number that you could go with that are... We're an upkeep caster. Something exists in this game that completely... I think
that just removes all the upkeeps for nothing?
And we saw this, and we should have known it was coming when you saw what Eris's 2 card was. Because it said you can take D3 damage points per upkeep to maintain them. So they don't want to just say... You're an upkeep caster, you're fucked. Do you remember in the picture that was released for Syntherian, if you looked like in a reflection behind him, Eris was standing there? It was absolutely hilarious. It's like do you guys realize that that's like the bane of his existence? I remember seeing that and it was absolutely hilarious. But, so they're sort of fixing that. Maybe that was a little nod to Mark III, who knows? We'll just assume that they're an omnipotent being at this point. They knew everything.
Yeah, I still stand by the Force Wall Arcanist. That was a Mark III slip.
Yeah.
Because it is verbatim what it is now. Anyways, I've got to cut this short. Just this section is approaching an hour and 10 minutes.
Yep, far too long.
Yeah, and that doesn't include the 3++ plug that you gave before, or the commentary for our battle report, so good God, this is going to take a while, and I'm going to have to find a way to release just the audio of this somehow.
Yeah, release it all separate.
Yeah, no
just kidding. Release the game and then release the second one. We're talking Mark III changes. You could do that.
I could do that. I probably will do that, actually. Make it easier. That way I just use the camera.
Yep.
Also, I'm out of beer. So, well, yeah, thanks for listening, watching, whatever. You've heard us ramble long enough, I'm sure.
You can comment on your favorite Legion or Scorn changes, whether you hated the factions or loved the factions.
Yeah. Or any other changes to Mark III that have happened so far.
Aha, Scorn, suck a dick. You're still gonna suck. Mark III comes and you still suck.
Scornergy doesn't exist. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
That's all.
Well, cheers. Good night. We'll see you next week. It's like with it that hot, I'm worried about it cutting out audio again, which is a royal pain in my ass when Audacity fucks that up.
Yeah.